All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Raptors Report. Pretty excited for this. On the show today, we have one half of the Raptors beat writing tandem over at The Athletic. And for my money, one of the best sports writers in the country, Blake Murphy. Hello,
hello
Blake.
Thanks so much, man.
Welcome to Raptors Report. It's good to talk to you. Just before we jump into everything, I just want to, I'll pitch kind of your platform, which is The Athletic. I'm a huge fan of The Athletic. I've been a subscriber for, half a year now, and I highly recommend getting it. There's tons of quality content. Not just the Raptors either. You get stuff on the NBA, pretty much any sport you can think of. And the two of you guys, you and Eric Kareen, are, two of the best Raptors beat writers around right now. So that's kind of an intro on you. Is there anything you want to say about The Athletic?
No, just if you're not a subscriber yet and you want to check it out, I usually have 30-day free trials or discount codes or promo links or something like that kicking around. So just shoot me a DM, and I've always got something to help you give it a try and see what we're all about. And with the season starting, I would argue the entire offseason taking place in 13 days was the best time to sign up and join us. But if not that, why not right as the season starts?
So, Blake, I want to start off with a personal question because I thought it was really cool. If I remember correctly, you either broke or you came close to breaking the news of the Raptors selecting Malachi Flynn with the 29th pick. Just wanted to ask you how it felt to scoop Woj on that, and maybe you can give us a couple of extra details.
No, there's Shams beat me though, so it's
okay.
It's one of those things. With how quickly all three of us had it, I'd imagine we all got the same message at the same time. I don't know, but those things are weird because this is something that's hard to explain to people sometimes. It's like I get the question a lot, like, why does Woj get Raptor stuff, or why does Shams get Raptor stuff instead of the local guys? And there are a lot of reasons that go into that, but the big one is that's Woj and Shams' full-time job, and that's what they're trying to do. Whereas, for me, it's more like obviously it'd be cool if I got that, but I think what people come to me more for is like, okay, why did they pick Malachi Flynn? Where does he fit? What's his game like? So, there's a difference in roles, and then, so I don't want to be like, on draft night, like hitting up contacts with the team, be like, hey, who you taking, especially because I know it's the Raptors, they're not going to tell me.
Right.
So, it's a weird balance with that kind of thing, but yeah, it's one of those things. I don't really care that much or measure that much by, getting scoops. But when you are that close and you lose by like 20 seconds, it's really disheartening.
Yeah.
Like there was one last year where I was in Vegas at Summer League and got told in a conversation over coffee that the Raptors were going to re-sign Patrick McCaw. So I tweet out, hey, the Raptors are going to sign Patrick McCaw. And then Real GM accuses me of having taken it from them because, I guess it had entered the transactions database already, and someone had posted on Real GM, and I was just like, man, I thought this was the most fruitful cup of coffee ever, but
Wow, that's a good story. I'm always thrilled to hear stories about how fickle people on the internet can be, because it's always funny. One day you're the greatest person on the planet, the next day you're persona non grata. But I'd like to kind of jump into the Raptors, maybe stuff that we can look at this season. Maybe we can take a look at Paul Watson Jr., because he has been a very intriguing player in the Raptors 905 system. Raptors Twitter has kind of fallen in love with him, but I can see why. The first preseason game, he was incredible. The chase down block, the stuff that he was showing on offense. And when you look at him, he just kind of looks like an NBA player. He's got the size, the athleticism, he looks like a NBA level defender, and those offensive skills seem to be coming to the point where he could be maybe a scoring threat on the floor. Maybe you could talk a bit about Paul Watson, what you see from him, what your expectations are for him this season.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, he was, one of the best stories of the G League last year. A guy doing his third round of the G League, and a change of scenery and change of development system kind of did him really well. And like I said, the three-point shot coming along, being a 42% weapon on over 7 threes a game, especially like later in the season where he was the focus of opposing defenses, that's really impressive. But I think, what he kind of layers that skill on top of it, and why his three ball was so necessary, is he has great like straight line burst attacking a closeout. So obviously if he's on the floor, if it's garbage time, it's one thing, but if he's on the floor in a regular rotation unit where there's a starter or two on the floor as well, and he's kind of the fourth, fifth option, when the breakdown comes and the ball kicks out to him, he's not just a spot up guy. He's a guy who can attack that advantage if the closeout's wild, or if there's a seam in the defense. He has great straight line bursts, and he's very strong and protects the ball while going to the rim. So
and this guy can bang on people. Like you've seen those highlight reels. Like he has first off, like you mentioned, that the first step to attack the closeout, like pretty explosive there, but also like super explosive just going to the rim. Like that guy gets up and can put it down pretty violently.
Yeah, and I would like to see him, and I hope this is some of what he's been working on in the offseason, is like, you want to expand that attack package, right? Like the first thing was to get the three reliable enough that guys have to close out at you hard and you can blow by them. And now the next thing is, I think it was against Corver in the bubble, and he just like his one counter move on the drive ended up like elbowing him right in the chops. And I don't think Kyle Korver was like watching Paul Watson G League tape to get ready for that game. Yeah. But Watson really does only hit like he's a little predictable with his counter move, or at least was last year. And then the G League, where rosters change so much and you can't do a ton of advanced scouting, that was fine. It was effective for him. But I do think, like, say he cracks, say he's the 10th man for a stretch of time, I do think defenses would be like, okay, you can draw a charge here because, the secondary package isn't there yet. And also, like, he has room to improve as a playmaker as well. Like, there was like a bit of a joke. I think the first time he got garbage time run with the Raptors, at the actual NBA level, he fed O'Shea for a bucket, and O'Shea was joking after the game that like he can't believe Paul passed it. So there's a little bit to that too. But I mean, this is the thing with any developmental prospect, right? Like, he's on a 2-way contract, and if you're good enough that fans can even dream on, like, oh, if this clicks or that clicks, you're in a pretty good spot as there, right? Yeah, and maybe there are a lot of guys who get to that level of maybe there's something there. The Raptors have had a few with Alfonso McKinney and Malcolm Miller, and a few others, and Axel Toupon now, who's back in the Warriors system. Right. And sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't, but it's always fun to have a guy like that. And I think the fact that Watson is like a highlight reel ready player too is going to help. If things click, he's going to be a fan favorite, because like you said, he bangs on guys, he blocks a lot of shots for a wing, and he's people like that. The way I think of it is like, if his ratings get high enough, like, he's the perfect kind of 2K player, because he hits threes, dunks, and blocks, and that's, unless you're like a hardcore 2K gamer, that's all you want to do anyway. Exactly. It's the old, like, in NBA Live 04, I would always play with the Sonics, and Rashard Lewis would average like 30 points a game. Yeah, it's good. So anyway, like, I get excited about these guys, but they are the guys competing for end of roster spots. So, like, expectations, keep them in check. But I do think Watson's a guy.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So in terms of, let's move past maybe the bubble guys and let's talk about maybe the main rotation. And when I look at the Raptors roster, I see a ton of depth at the guard spots. So, which hasn't been the case for the Raptors over the past couple of years. That might have been the thin spot. But now it seems like they've got a lot of options there with Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Norm Powell, Malachi Flynn, Matt Thomas, Terrence Davis, and potentially even, Patrick McCaw. Do you could you see, this is a projection, I don't know if you know anything about this, but like, could you see a consolidation trade happening, perhaps to make more minutes for some of those players? And if you don't see a trade coming, how do you think that they distribute those minutes?
Yeah, I mean, a trade's always possible. I don't think that they would trade guys just to consolidate necessarily, because, you know, look at the history of this team, and they really value depth, and they think that they can develop guys even when they're not getting regular minutes. So, you know, I think that, sure, if something involving, you know, Patrick McCaw and Norman Powell, or Norman Powell and Stanley Johnson, or whatever, materializes, then you take a look at that and you consider it for sure, and you're comfortable with a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 kind of deal, not only because you have extra depth and guys who can step into those roles, but you do like these 905 guys you have in camp with you and stuff like that. So I do think there, you know, if something came up, that would be, I'll say, like, a consolidation move is not something that would deter them from making a trade, but I don't think they'll hunt something like that just to clear up a spot. Like I said, I think they're comfortable developing guys even when they're not playing. Now, in terms of how those minutes break down, the Terrence Davis situation is obviously a swing factor there. He has his next court date on the day of the season opener, and we don't know yet, you know, will the NBA
suspended by the league, right?
Yeah, or even put on administrative leave as they continue their investigation. So there's a lack of clarity there. You know, I think if he plays, you can pencil him in as kind of the third guard, and if he doesn't, and you're looking at a lot of Malachi Flynn early, which is really exciting. Nick Nurse has, you know, warned that he doesn't like to give rookies a ton of responsibility right away, but Flynn's looked really solid. He got great reviews from his off-season work when he was out at Impact, working with some of the Raptors, and then in their LA mini camp. So I think they're starting to develop a comfort level with him. McCaw is still not 100%, right, coming off of that late season knee surgery as well. So he's being brought along slowly. But Nick Nurse, like, he already knows the response that McCaw stuff's going to get. And yesterday in his presser, he was like, well, you guys know how I feel about Pad, and we need him. So, I don't think McCall will be far from the rotation. And then there's Matt Thomas, too. So I think the biggest thing here is, I mean, one, they can bring Malachi Flynn along slowly if they need to. And if they don't need to, awesome. This is a good problem to have. But also, they don't have a lot of forward depth behind OG and Siakam, especially if they're going to place him in it small. So I think
Norm might go to the forward spot, maybe small forward time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is I could see them running some 3-guard lineups like they used to do back in the, like, Lowry, Lou Williams, Grievous days. And then I could definitely see Powell playing a little bit more 3, and that's troublesome if you look at, you know, starting 3s around the league defensively. But if you're going against opposing bench units, like, how many opposing bench units have a bulky forward who's going to take a wing defender down onto the block? Like, it just, it doesn't come up all that often that you can't kind of make your second unit defense work by identity and effort versus, you know, sure, if you run into the Clippers and they're running a Kawhi and bench unit, yeah, you're going to have some trouble, but you're going to have some trouble with that if OG's defending them too. So,
you're just, yeah. I mean, probably if you're playing the Clippers, you just match OG up with Kawhi, and whenever he leaves the floor, maybe then you put Norm on. Tune in next week as our intrepid heroes Blake Murphy and Raptors Report finish part 2 of this exciting series. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow Raps Report on Twitter. Same Raps time, same Raps channel.